Hey YouTube family, let's try this again. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a while. I think even saying a while is an understatement. It's been a very long time if we're being real. Yeah, I fell off YouTube unfortunately last year, which was my last year on this platform, and now I'm trying to find my way back with this first video of 2026. I don't know if we're still saying Happy New Year, but Happy New Year guys regardless, because this is the first time we are seeing each other, talking each other, interacting in this new year. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing fantastic. I'm very excited about this new year. There are a couple of things I want to work towards. There's also just like the feeling of a new year. I don't know if you're those like, type A people, you have your plans sorted, or just like the feelings of what a new year brings. I'm just feeling really, really excited about this new year. So, to address the elephant in the room, why did I stop posting last year? So, I feel like my 2025, in comparison to the other 2 years, was a bit of a weird year. Like, as the year was coming to an end, I felt like I hadn't accomplished a couple of things, and one of them was a really, really big thing that I wanted to do last year. And no, it has nothing to do with getting into a relationship, and maybe one day we'll talk about that. But 2025 was pretty interesting because it was the year I got in and out of a relationship within the same quarter. A very funny story, that one. But yeah, maybe if God allows, we'll talk about it in the future. But the thing that I wanted to do, which might be a surprise to a couple of y'all, is that I wanted to quit my 9 to 5 and get into full-time ministry. Now, I had pretty specifically from God about this earlier in the year. If I'm actually being honest, the previous year, 2024, I believe, probably around September, October, I was just starting out a fast, and I had clearly heard from the Holy Spirit about this. And that was like the very beginning that God has spoken to me about content creation and a couple of other things. And at that point in time, I feel like it was too soon for me, so I kind of just brushed it off. And then last year, I had a very specific encounter that got confirmed by so many other things the months after that. And so I was like, okay, I'm set. I am quitting my management consulting and financial advisory job, and I am going to serve God, however that looks like. So the picture hadn't been painted clearly for me, but that was what I had a lot of resolve for. And then a month after that, as luck would have it, work announced that we were going to go through layoffs, which was a very difficult period for our company. It was the first time it was happening, albeit we were the last people within our industry to go through layoffs. The other companies had done it like the previous year in December, so this is 2024, and also earlier in 2025. So we're kind of like the last batch of people who are going through this. But like when I had the news, I was like, bring it on. Like, as I was already leaving, in fact, I ended up volunteering to be laid off from work, still at my place of employment, so that didn't happen. And I don't want to share too many details because that's not the point of this video. But essentially what ended up happening is, as the year continued rolling by, I would ask God, he'd be like, not yet, get this done. And then finally it was like a 180, and God was like, you're not quitting your job this year. And while, yes, there was a weight that was, like, I felt a weight had been taken off my shoulders, because the biggest issue for me was, how am I going to make money after I quit my job? I fell into this slump, and I was just pissed off at God. I was just like, like, how are you going to make me wrestle with so many difficult feelings about leaving my job to finally get to the place where I am super comfortable? I'm even excited. Obviously, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I'm super, super excited to be doing this with you. And then you tell me, Z, actually, stay at your job. It felt like I was going through the Abraham test, like sacrificing his son Isaac. And while, yes, it was a beautiful thing that he didn't have to sacrifice his son, I'm pretty sure he still had some conflicted emotions when he was going down Mount Moriah with Isaac in hand. It's like, you've already let go of your son in the physical realm. You've thought about this future without him. Probably thought about what you're going to tell Sarah, your wife, about sacrificing your one and only son. Like, you've gone through so many emotions, and then it's like, now you just have to backtrack and act as if nothing has happened. So that's how I was feeling. I was feeling very conflicted. I was pissed off at God, I'm not going to lie. And I'm one of those people, unfortunately, who has, I tag a lot of my future things to milestones. So I think a big part of me was just really looking forward to this season of my life where there is no 8 to 5. I'm not employed, so this is what I get to do every single day. And I was really looking forward to that. I was looking forward to waking up in the morning and I have time for YouTube, I have time for Instagram and all of that jazz and everything else that God would add onto my plate. And so when that reality was, I guess, yanked away from me so suddenly, I kind of also just fell out of love with the entire idea of content creation, because then I felt like this idealistic view of me doing content had been taken away from me. And it's like I had moved on from having to figure out my 8 to 5 with content. And now it was just like, I don't want to do it. Like, now I have to go back to think about my weekends and how those will be split. And yeah, it just, I guess I was just going through a couple of like some feelings. I had some feelings. I had some questions for the Lord. Some of those have not been answered, and it is okay. That's why He's God and I'm a created thing. But yeah, that was a bit of my 2025 and why I eventually just fell off this platform. I think it also goes without saying, well, not really goes without saying, but something that I'd like to add is, while yes, that was a big part of it, the other big part of it is that I was just being lazy. You know, if I'm like really just being honest with myself and calling myself out, I feel like I give myself a lot to work, but I don't give myself a lot to my personal goals. And so it's so easy for a weekend to come by and for me to just lazy around or come up with excuses, you know, oh, I'm tired, I'm not feeling well, I've had a really long week. But truth is, if there was work to get done, I would figure it out. I would sleep late, I would wake up early, I would work over the weekends, you know, like something would have to give. And I guess I had to also come to terms with the fact that I wasn't keeping promises to myself as regards to YouTube. Earlier in the year, I done a video and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do 52 videos this year. Every single Sunday, y'all should hold me accountable. Guys, I didn't even get to 30. I don't even know if I got to 20. Honestly, it's sad, but yeah, that's the truth of the matter. I just was not taking myself seriously, and so a big part of this year 2026 is me really wanting to build habits around work, habits around rest, habits around like how I want to show up for the content creation thing, because I still do really feel this is a big part of my ministry. And beyond that, beyond like wanting to serve God, wanting to give Him a yes, I absolutely love connecting with you guys, and I also really enjoy teaching, and not necessarily teaching from a place of authority, but also just teaching the things God is teaching me. So like sharing my own personal faith journey and all that contains. So it's something I want to do. So I really want to figure out this year, like building the right habits. I actually feel like it's me going back to the drawing board in 2026. So I need to figure out like just my habits, productivity, sleeping, working out, nutrition. That's a really big one for me this year, because I've had a couple of health issues. You know, my relationship with God. I've shared on my Instagram that friendship is a big thing for me this year. So friendship with God, how that looks like, what that means, what do I need to do to actually become a friend of God for Him to become my friend. So yeah, I guess this is just like my coming back to YouTube, you know, trying to see if there's still people around this channel. So if you're watching this, I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see more of in this year. At some point, I would want to move away from the sit-down videos and maybe do a bit of vlogs here and there. So let's see how that goes. Yeah. Thanks for rocking with me, guys. I guess let's honestly try this again and give it a fair shot. So thank you, guys. God bless you. Till the next one, stay blessed up. Bye.